Hi, welcome to Hope Forge. Today we're going to light the fire. This is a forge that uses forced air to oxidize coal. I have two grades of coal that I use in my forge. I have anthracite, which is the cheaper stuff that I use for general forging work, and bituminous coal. Both come from West Virginia, from the mines down there. And anthracite was more commonly used for heating homes, and bituminous is the stuff that blacksmiths like to use because it burns hotter and cleaner. Now, when I light my fire, I always keep a supply of coke, which is coal that has only been partially burned. The reason for that is because it's porous and lightweight. That will allow flame to travel right inside the kernel of coal and produces a lot more heat, and it's also a lot easier to light. Coal, as it comes out of the ground, has a lot of tar and heavies in it that will only allow flame to propagate on the outside of it. That's why it needs to be burned on the outside of the chamber so that all that hot tar comes out of it, and then it can become coke, which is what you can actually work with. Now, to light my fire, I've taken a piece of newsprint, actually 3 sheets, and I've crumpled it up into the shape of a mushroom cloud or a jellyfish. The reason for that is because when you light the fuse down at the bottom, the flame travels along the inside of this ball of newspaper, which allows it to burn longer, and that will make it far easier for you to get the coal to light, because it does take a bit of flame and a bit of heat, a little bit of patience to get it to work. So I'm going to light my fire, and then I'm going to pour the coke on top of it, and I'm going to use the fan to oxidize it. Get it to burn nice and hot. Okay, setting this down into the forge pit, and there's a vent coming up from the bottom, which is going to feed air to the flame. Starting my fan. There we are, it's already starting to go. You can see there's a lot of smoke. I've got a fume hood right up above the forge body that takes it out, all this smoke, which has a little bit of sulfur in it and you don't really want to breathe. Takes it right out the smokestack so that I don't have to breathe it. The only time you should have a considerable amount of smoke like this is A, if you're using anthracite coal, which doesn't burn as cleanly, and B, most of the time when you're starting the fire. The forge body is taking all that heat right out of the center of the flame because this has mass and it needs to heat up. When this gets hot, it's actually going to make that fire burn more cleanly. And that's all there is to it. Now, what I'm going to do, I'm going to take some raw, unburned coal, and I'm going to set it around the outside of the fire so that that heavy tar can burn off and make more coke that we can use. Just going around the outside in a horseshoe pattern. Now you'll notice that this coal is wet. The reason I keep it wet is to allow it to burn more controlled while it's being converted from coal to coke. And most importantly, it keeps coal fines, coal dust out of the air. Because when you breathe that into your lung, you develop what's called black lung syndrome. That's not something that you want to have. So I prefer to keep my coal wet. Some people prefer to use dry coal. Still others like to use pre-processed coke that you can get from foundries or foundry supply companies. Burns a lot hotter, a lot more coal fines. Personally, I like to go old school and use coal just as it's mined out of the ground. You can see it chopped into very fine pieces, which makes it far easier to work with. When it's mined out of the ground and sent to coal-fired generators, they're usually about the size of the baseball or larger. And that's not something you can fit in a small forge body like this. So they grind it down into fine coal like this, about 1/2 inch to 3/4 inch in diameter. This is what you like to use, just like that size. here we are with our flame. And that's all there is to it.